Hi friends, I'm Jocelyn Peters, the maker and designer behind Mountain Song Designs, and welcome to this episode. It's been a while since my last regular episode, so I have a lot to share with you, so let's get started. The first thing I'm going to share with you is the thing that I have been thinking about all week. I have a pattern coming out in 2 days or 1 day, depending on when you see this. Thursday, July 11th, 2024. Here it is. These are the It Begins With Socks pattern. You can see this cool braid that goes down the front. We have vampire bites and we have demon drops, simple lace. And look at this heel. You know what? I'm going to insert a picture so that you can see it better. But you will see a witch's broom on this. See that part going into that with a reinforced heel. I love the fit of this heel. You guys, this is for a discovery of witches. Book 5 comes out next week. Blackbird Oracle. It's a series of books by Deborah Harkness, and I love these books. A Discovery of Witches, Shadow of Night is book 2, then Book of Life is book 3, and book 4 is Time's Convert. Now, I just listened to the first 3 books. I've read them on Kindle numerous times, and I decided to listen to them on an audiobook. I enjoy both ways of consuming those books. And then I also read the Kindle version of Time's Convert for the first time over the last couple of weeks. It was perfect timing because it's about the a good bit about the American Revolution because it's about Marcus's story. Now, if you are familiar with A Discovery of Witches, it's about witches, but it's about 3 species as well as humans, so 4 species, and the history and how they come together, and 2 main characters, Matthew and Diana. It is a love story, but it is so much more than a love story. But I have all of the species in these socks. We have the witches with the broom. We have the vampires. We have the demons, which are creative geniuses. And then the braid knits them all together at the end. This is actually my second pair of these socks that I have knit. Let me go ahead and show you the first pair. Now, you'll see why these aren't the sample. It's harder to see the patterning, but these speckles, oh my goodness, this is Island Dye Works. You can only get this yarn at the Stitchery of St. Simon's. The owner actually dyes the yarn, and I love it. I love her speckles. They're amazing. And I had this yarn in my stash for a while, and I wanted to find something fun to do with it. So check that. Here's the witch's broom, a little up close. Now you can still see it with these speckles. You can still see it. I'm still going to love these socks. I'm going to love wearing these socks. But that is a finished object. And these are finished objects. So when we get into those, these are part of my finished objects. But this comes out on Thursday. As always, all of the best discounts you will find on Substack. Now, if you want the 30% discount, find me on Instagram, Mountain Song Designs, and Substack is also Mountain Song Designs. Every time I have a pattern come out or new patterns releasing from before, which you'll read about it on Substack, everything's there and it comes right to your inbox if you are a subscriber. Super easy. So yeah, and plus on the off weeks when I'm not writing about patterns, I write about fun or meaningful or thoughtful or whatever stuff in my life or my knitting life or things that relate to knitting. It's kind of a mix, but I hope that you enjoy it if you check it out. So these are my It Begins With Socks. Oh, I have this with me. I want to show it to you because I think it's gorgeous. Look. The World of All Souls. This is sort of I guess encyclopedia, a guide to the 3 main books. It has all the information about different characters and just all of the things in the books. It's a beautiful book. The illustrations are gorgeous. Has really interesting information. So if you're interested in those books, you've read it, maybe you're thinking about this, this is a fun book to have. I like to have it to flip through. Novels I like to listen to on Audible, you know, on Libby, through the library. But some books I just love to have a copy of. And this is one of those. So those are the things that I'm thinking about the most this week. So I hope you will join me. It'll be available on Ravelry and Etsy. I'm MTN Song Designs on Etsy and Mountain Song Designs or Jocelyn Peters on Ravelry. So that is my upcoming pattern. Now I have a lot of other designs that I either had come out since my last one of my chatty episodes, or some things that are pertinent, and I'll get into that. So I'll go through them kind of quickly because you may have seen them already, but if you haven't, I want to make sure that you have. So I have my Deci Scarf. Now, most people don't want to knit scarves right now, but I'm telling you, this is great warm weather knitting because it's fingering weight. It looks complicated. It's really not complicated. You can take this with you. It's great for knitting right now. And it'll be ready by the time the weather finally cools off. Is it hot where you are? Oh my goodness. It's like a sauna outside right now. But lightweight knitting is fantastic for that kind of weather, right? Or just sitting inside. And there's also my Luminous Are We Cowl. This was my most recent pattern. Yes, these do go together. It's a similar, it kind of makes a set. And we've got my Yoda colors. Again, it's pretty straightforward. It looks a lot more complicated than it is. And it's a great way to showcase stash that looks nice together. It could be high contrast. It could be slightly lower contrast, or it could be not very much contrast at all. It's totally up to you what your preference is. So those are out. Both are made from Wonderland Yarns, Marianne. And if you want the colors, check out on Ravelry and Etsy. All the information's there. Also Substack. Now, I have some patterns that I released a few years ago that are now, I released them through Lolo Did It, and now they are coming to my shop. So over throughout the rest of the year, I'll have a few more, like the end of the month, I'll have some that I'll show you the next time I have one of these episodes, and then a few more during the rest of the year. But let me show those to you because I don't think I have. And if I have, I apologize, but I love them. And so I'm going to show them anyway. The Whomping Willow Warmer. It's a cowl. Look at that gorgeous leaf and cable. This is the short size. This is the tall size. Let's get it going the right way though. Here we go. How fun is that? Now this is a bulky weight yarn. Both of these are Lolo Did It because I designed it for Lolo Did It. I think this is Christmas at Hogwarts, and this might be Blue Suede Shoes. I'm not sure if it's the same now. The bulky weight, and you know, the bulky weight is so nice to work with because it's not super heavy, but it also knits up really quick. This I knit in, I think I used 2 skeins for this and 1 skein for the short. So depending on what style you want, how much yarn you have, it's really straightforward, fun, a great gift knit. I don't know about you, but it's July, so it feels like I should start my Christmas knitting right now so I don't stress out in December. Of course, I say that every year, and then December rolls around and I realize I need to knit socks for somebody and a hat for somebody else. And do you guys do that, or is that just me? I don't think it's just me, right? So if you want to get on it, that's an easy one. Another heavier weight pattern that I have, it's DK weight. This is my Diamonds in the Snow ornament. Now you see it fits Barbie's. It also fits Elf on the Shelf. So you can knit it plain, and you know, I have my I guess it's more variegated. It's not really self-striping. It's variegated. You could do self-striping. Speckled, if you just want the colors. There's also included the diamonds, because diamonds in the snow, diamonds color work, and snow. It's snow. So if you want to do the color work, you can. If you don't, you definitely don't have to. DK weight doesn't use up a whole lot of yarn. That's available. So again, if you want to get a head start on your Christmas knitting, those are really quick, really easy. They're good for stash busting. If you have leftovers of DK that you want to use up, that's all available. Let's see what's next. Oh, I love this set. Okay, this is my Innkeeper hat. This is a very much worn hat. I wear this hat a lot, especially in the fall, winter, spring, a lot. So it might be a little fuzzy because I love it, but it has these fun cables. They kind of go back and forth. It's not a standard cable, but it's pretty straightforward. There's not a lot of thinking, but there's a little bit. And I have it designed so it's really pretty. We've got snowflakes. It's a daisy stitch, but it's like snowflakes because this is for White Christmas and Gilmore Girls, and both of them have innkeepers who I adore. So I designed it for that. That's what the colors were for the Christmas box for Lolo Did It that year. So all three of these designs are designed to go with both Gilmore Girls and White Christmas, which is fine by me because I love both. Also, now this is on Ruby and Roses. I knit this at the end of last year and told you I was going to tell you about it later. Well, now's later. This is Ruby and Roses. These are my Zig Then Zag Socks. Look at those cool zigzagging socks. Oh my gosh, that goes down the front. Now I have it kind of off to the side so you can see it, but it goes down the front. Nice standard heel flap and gusset. Top down sock. Really easy to make. You can make it with one color. You could add in another color down here if you want to. It's designed for one color, but you know, you do you. Do what makes you happy. This is Ruby and Roses. I believe it is Witching Hour. I don't think it's Season of the Witch. I think that this is Season of the Witch. Is that right? I think that's right. Because I had some leftover from Potions and Pearls from my Fairlea cowl. And I put some witchy colors together, plus the black. That was also Potions and Pearls. I think it looks really pretty together. I had actually kind of forgotten that I did that because it goes so well together. But Zig Then Zag Socks, because that's what Lorelai does. She zigs when you think she's going to zag, and when you think she's going to zag, she zigs. And I don't know. There's a whole quote. It's in the pattern. So that is the Zig Then Zag Socks. And a cowl. Lord Help the Mister cowl. Hang on one second, let me find it. Okay, when I went and looked for that cowl, I realized I had brought my other pair of Zig Then Zag socks down. Now these are in the Lolo Did It Christmas box. This is the cashmere MCN base. So mine are rather fuzzy. I love wearing these, but I don't know what it is with the MCN in my feet, but it gets really fuzzy for me. I don't think everybody has that issue, so I don't know. But I think it's so pretty with this cable. Oh my goodness, so pretty. Yeah, so Zig Then Zag socks. These I made 2.5 years ago. So, you know, they've lived a good life. But here's the Lord Help the Mister cowl. Let me make sure I have it going the right way. Look at this. Now, this is a speckle, so it's not as easy to see the patterning. If you go to the pattern website, you'll see the samples and you can see it much better. But this is what I have. So check that out though. It was so fun designing this this cable chart. Oh my gosh, you have the feathers. Have you seen White Christmas? I love the song Sisters. They have those big feather fans and they're singing about Lord help the mister who comes between me and my sister, and so on and so forth. So that was my inspiration for that, plus these sort of Art Deco kind of cables. You can do just one, you could do two, you could do three. It's designed that you keep going. Or in the pattern, if you don't want the cable, which I respect that. Not everybody wants to do a really fun, though maybe at times complicated cable. I get it. If you don't want to do that, all you do is make this. And you have the snowflakes daisy stitch. You have this fun cable that goes all the way up. These lovely cables along the edge. And you can just do that and simplify a little bit, and it's gorgeous. The instructions are for that too. So it's 2 in 1, really. So that is the Lord Help the Mister cowl. That is also available. All great for Christmas knitting or personal knitting, whatever, nice and light. I love the fingering weight projects in the winter. So there are those. Oh, and also one more thing, my Bandoneon socks. Hang on, let me find them. Oh my gosh, you guys. I have so many things around me because I have so much to show you. I am struggling to keep track of everything. But here are the socks. Now, this has options because that's what I like. You can knit a fun little lace ruffle. The smaller the size, the more ruffly it is. If you have bigger feet like mine, it's more of just a pretty little fold over accent, nice little lacy ruffle, and these fun bands that go around. It might look like it would be uncomfortable when you step on it. It's really not. Super comfortable. It gives a little bit of extra wiggle room, especially if you're knitting for kids. I have knit these for kids because kids' feet grow a lot, or if you're knitting them as a gift, which I've also done. And it makes it so easy to get really close to the foot size or to get to the size now and give room to grow, because it still works when it's a little more bunched up. It's still comfortable. And when those kids' feet grow, it grows with them. Also, the top is ribbing, so it's extra good for stretch, for extra fit. Great gift knitting, as long as you know basically the right size, but it doesn't have to be perfect to still work. Also, here's a version that I made. It also has directions just for a ribbed cuff. Goes straight into the ribbing on top of the foot, and has these bands. You can use one color. You can use, let's see, you could use 6 colors. You could use 7 colors if you're doing the ruffle. Play around with minis. Each band, I think, took somewhere around 1 gram. Don't quote me on it, but it's about that. So you don't need a whole lot for the bands. But yeah, those are the Bandoneon socks. If you haven't ever listened to Bandoneon music, you should. It's fun. It's like a tango with this like accordion kind of instrument. Very cool. Very fun. So that is that. That's everything that has come to my shop since the last time I filmed one of these, or is about to come to my shop. So now I want to talk a little bit about some of my designs that are great for this time of year for a variety of reasons. I'll go through these kind of quick. If you want to learn more, they're in previous episodes. They're all on Ravelry, Etsy, Substack, all the info. But if you go to farmers markets or just want to knit something that you don't have to wear when it's really hot, a bag is perfect. This is the Bagel Man market bag. It is entirely seamless except for the very last Kitchener stitch. For that much. Everything else is seamless. You have to pick up a few stitches here and there, but that's it. This uses a worsted weight cotton yarn, peaches and cream. It's easy to on the go. You can use it when you go to the market. You can use it to put all of your other projects in. You can use it for whatever, but it's nice, light, easy on the go. Also, I have seen so many people participating in summer sock camp. When I get on Instagram, that's like everything that you see is summer sock camp, which I think is so cool. Kay Litton runs it, a fellow West Virginian, or at least originally, which I love, the crazy sock lady. And it's always so fun to see all of the socks that everybody is making every year. And obviously there are so many socks to choose from. But if you're interested in the ones that I have to offer, in addition to what I've already talked about, and of course, socks coming out Thursday, I have a few others to share with you. First of all, my Fade into Neverland socks. These are so cool. They're toe up. They are toe up, and it has a heel flap and gusset that fits like a heel flap and gusset. Now, of course, it's a toe up construction, but it is so cool. I've never seen a heel fit like that before, which is why I wanted to make it. And it has this fun fade that you can do. I've made shorty socks with this pattern. You can make them as long as you want to. You can play with color. I made a pair that had 5 different colors. You know, I had to change around where to fade and all that, but it's a great basic pattern that you can start with, do the fade as written, or play around with color. So there's Fade into Neverland. Now I have, the next one is socks and mitts that match. This is mustache yarn. This is my Echo Lodge socks, fun little lace. Again, it's toe up, and it's sort of a companion to the Fade into Neverland, but it has a CC for the heel contrast color. So it's written just as you see, main color, plus the CCs here, toe up, cool heel, and really fun with self-striping yarn. I love it. And if you like the mitts, if you want mitts to go with it, I made all of this from one skein. These are mediums. I made one skein of the main color and probably 30 grams of the CC. It might have been 20, but I think it was probably more like, let's just say within 50 grams. I'm not sure exactly how much I use now. It's been a little while, but you know, half a skein will definitely do ya. So those go together. My Coffee and a Sunrise socks. I love these socks. Look at these colors. Coffee cups and sunrises. It's a fun use of lace and twisted rib. More coffee cups. This is Leading Men Fiber Arts colors. Love these. Got this heel that you see on my It Begins with Socks. It's coming out. I love this heel. It fits so well. I love a reinforced heel. It just wears better, and it's fun to make. I think it's fun to make. This is based on my cousin's song Windmill Keep on Turning, Charles Wesley Godwin. You could probably see him in concert. He is going all over the country right now, and Appalachian folk country. Love his music. And this is based on one of those, so there's that. Another mustache is her Daily Eggs colorway. This is called Hatching Love. Now this is DK weight. There's a basic cable thing there. Nothing too crazy. But you have the little heart and the egg. This was an Easter pattern, but you know, it goes any time of year. Cool eye of partridge, heel, top down. These were really fun and quick with the DK weight, super quick. Is that it? That's it for right now. So I am going to move on to my finished projects. Okay, most of the things that I have finished are kind of small, but that's okay. They're still mighty. So here's the first one. I crocheted a Yoda. Isn't he so cute? Oh my goodness. And look at those toes. Ah! I think the toes are just so cute. My kid claimed this as soon as, well, before I had finished it, which always makes me happy when one of my kids loves what I make so much that they claim it. So this became my kids. And I was kind of in the mood for Yoda because I had already been knitting Luminous Are We, and I was sort of in that mood. And I have you seen the kits? They're the Star Wars crochet kits. They also have like Harry Potter and just all of the different kits. You know, you can get it with a book and it has some of the yarn that comes with it and a crochet hook. And this came from that kit. I really enjoyed it. I have been putting off making this for a really long time, and I finally made it, and it was so fun, and it's quick because it's small. And plus, you know, a very powerful Jedi Master. It was very fun. So that was my Yoda. I think I even finished him. Did I finish him in time for May the 4th? I must have. Yeah, I finished him in time for May the 4th. So that is one. My next one is also crochet. Now, this one I already showed you. My little granny square. I made a smaller one. Check it out. You see? It's a granny square crochet. I also made a fancier one. I haven't woven in the ends because when you're working with thread and tiny needles, it's a little hard. And so I just haven't done it yet, but I will. Check it out. How pretty is that? How pretty is that? Just a fun square. Took some time because it's tiny and I'm learning how to do that well. I crocheted for a long time, but I'm using a 0.6 millimeter, number 12 needle or crochet hook, sorry. It's so small it has to have a cap on it so you don't break it or yourself. I also had to start wearing silicone finger covers because I kept jamming it in my finger. It was awful. But maybe some of that also is skill and figuring out how not to hurt yourself while crocheting. I don't know. But that last pattern I showed you is out of this, the Micro Crochet Motifs. This is a really neat book. And I'm looking forward to doing more of it. Hey, here's the one I made right there. There are a lot of really neat ones in here, and I'm hoping to make quite a few of them. It's not the kind of thing that I just pick up and do. I'm sure there are people who do that. I'm not one of those people because I need to be able to look at it really closely and pay attention and all of that. That's where I am in that journey. So it's fun, but also not the thing that I can just whip up real quick. But that's what I'm working on. I'm hoping to make some more of those and maybe some different styles. So there's that. Let's see. Oh, I had already shown one of these, but I finished the second one, my USA hats. These are gifts for friends of ours who recently became US citizens. We're so happy for them and so blessed to have them in our lives. And I made them a big old hat each. So that is my Fairlea Hat pattern. If you're looking for a simple, basic ribbed pattern, again, another great gift knit. If you're looking for an easy, quick gift knit, that's what that is. There's a knittable pom-pom in the pattern. I did not make it for this, but you know, if you want to make it for the recipient, it's awesome, or for yourself, easy, low maintenance pom-pom. You don't have to worry about stuff coming out. So, and my last one is, I guess technically it's not finished because I haven't put the buttons on yet. Part of that's because I lost them, but I know they're here somewhere. But this is my Shapeshifter Shrug. It's big and I love it. Look at this lace. And it kind of goes along with our witchy theme this week, or the Discovery of Witches theme, because it is from the Vampire Knits book. Now it is shapeshifter like werewolf, but it will go around here, and then you see the buttonholes, and on the bottom I will sew the buttons, and then it will connect kind of like this. And so I will have arm, it goes around your arm. So it's sort of like having sleeves, a shrug, but it is adaptable. And let me see. So it's nice and long. It'll be cozy. It's warm. It's part alpaca. So it's really just warm and delightful. Plymouth Donegal is the yarn. And if you want to know more about it, I've talked about it in like the last couple of episodes. So I'm sure you will find more there. But it is done, except for the buttons. But let's move on to things that I have not finished, but I am working on. Now my first WIP is almost an FO. I'm so close to being done. It's my Bloomsbury sweater. Here's the back. Here's the back, and you can see I have that already bound off. Here's the front. Isn't that gorgeous? It's like a type of raglan shaping, but alternate. Sleeves have the lace all the way down. Now, look, I just need to bind off like the front half. That's all I have left to bind off. But it takes a while. It's a tubular bind off, so it takes a while. No, technically it's not tubular. It's like the Italian something something. I call it tubular because that's what it is minus the prep steps. Some people get mad about it. I don't. It's basically tubular bind off. So that is what I am doing on tonight. I'm going to finish this tonight because I love it and it's gorgeous. And look at that blue. Oh my gosh. Oh, doesn't that look so good with it? Oh man, makes me want a pumpkin spice latte. It's not time yet. It's too hot. But there we are. So that is Bloomsbury by Svetlana Volkova. This is in Stonehenge Fiber Mill Shepherd's Wool. This is the royal blue color. It's a non-superwash worsted weight. Really nice to work with. I have to remind myself not to felt it because it's great. This wool is great for felting. I don't want to felt my sweater. So that is that. Ooh, and my prayer shawl. Now this is taking me a while, but I do have more knit on it. Well, crocheted on it. It's a crochet project. It's a pretty basic pattern. It's like the original prayer shawl. I don't know. It's just what our church makes. And so I'm making one. It's taking me a little time, but I'm getting there. And that's the whole purpose, right? I think. Okay. And this I have gotten back to. Okay, y'all, this is a blanket. This has already been claimed by another one of my children. This was supposed to be mine. I started making this a really long time ago. 12 years ago? More? I don't know. I started making this a really long time ago. And then I started knitting all the other things and casting on a couple other of these blankets. It uses Cairn 1 pound, 5 skeins for the main color, and then 1 skein to go around the outside. I have made 3 of these before as gifts. I made a 4th one with Game of Thrones colors in the last Game of Thrones season, 1 for each character, and they were supposed to die off so I could stop using the stripe of color. But these people lived the whole time, so I had to like knit a huge blanket, which I suppose is good that they lived, but it took forever. Of course, now it's a huge blanket that my husband claimed, but maybe someday I'll I'll crochet myself one. But they are fun. They're easy. It's just a basic repetitive stitch over and over and over, which is nice sometimes, just to be able to do a thing that I automatically do. I've knit so many of these stitches that it kind of just comes naturally. In fact, my crochet hook, I don't know if you can tell, but it has lost its color on this part where I hold it because I've knit so many of these. Size J 10 or 6.0 millimeter hook. But yeah, I'm working on this, and then I will make the green one, and then I will make the blue one that I've already started, and then I will make the dark blue one that's a king size someday. But this is what I'm working on. I know it's going to take a long time, and I'm okay with that because I'm working on it some, and eventually it has to get done, right? So that is a blanket, twin size blanket. I don't really have a name for it, but let's see. Ooh, another blanket that I'm working on, but this is actually a sample for a pattern that is coming out in November, and it's going to be here in time for all of the advent calendars that are coming, or just some fun knitting. Let me show you the worsted weight version of this. This is in testing right now. It's a blanket, so it's really big. I have shown this before. I'll show it again. Look at that. This is also Karen 1 pound, taupe and ocean, I think. I'd have to look. This is the worsted weight version. It's really big. I'm working on the fingering weight version because there is the option to use fingering weight, because I don't know about you, but I want to be able to use scraps or minis or whatever and just put it together in a really cool blanket. Now obviously the fingering weight takes a lot longer to get the same size as the worsted weight blanket, but that's okay. I knit about one square per day, depending on my time. There have been days where I got almost 3 done because I had time to sit and knit. There are some days where I'd get a couple of rows and that's it. That's my life right now, and that's okay. But this is entirely seamless. No seaming at all. You knit squares, and then you knit other squares, and then you have a blanket. So I have a bazillion of these lace squares. And actually, you might notice this yarn is the same yarn as what I used here. I love how that works. And this is an old pal in the army. And I knit it on D-Day. And I have a whole Substack post about that if you're interested. So this one is blocked because I used that in my Substack post, but the rest of these are not. And you'll see all kinds of cool colors. I'm sorry if that's loud. So you can, each of these takes about 10 grams or less. It depends on the weight of the fingering weight yarn. If you have a heavier fingering weight yarn, you're probably going to need at least 10 grams. But the lighter, you don't. Like a 440 per 100 gram, 440 yards. There's that. Now, some of these I already have put together. And by the way, I'm on square number 36 right now. But here, this is sort of, it looks kind of messy right now because that's just the nature of it. But I'm starting to get them put together. How cool is that? The lace with the garter. Oh my goodness. It's pretty, but also squishy. And who doesn't want a squishy blanket? So it's a fun way to keep memories and use a wide variety of colors. And it's fun to put them together. So those are my whips, but I do want to share one more thing with you. So the yarn for my Discovery of Witches socks, it begins with socks. I struggled to find the right colors for those socks because I wanted something that was fiery, but airy, but maybe watery, or possibly maybe blood because of the vampires. And it's even in the poem that it comes from. It begins with absence and desire. It begins with blood and fear. It begins with a discovery of witches. So that's where the name comes from. Sorry, I should have said that earlier. But I was looking for yarn that would represent that feeling or those ideas or other elements from the different characters and situations and all that. Does anybody else think about yarn color that much? Like, probably, right? At least on some of them, you've probably thought that much. And sometimes you're just like, whatever, get some colors that look nice. But on these, I was thoughtful. But and I found these when I was on vacation. I went to my favorite yarn store, the Stitchery of St. Simon's. If I can, I'll include a picture of the store. I love browsing it. It's yarn and needlepoint supplies. So lovely. But I found those colors in the Malabrigo Ultimate Sock, and I found a couple others because I wasn't entirely sure. I needed to think about it. But I loved them so much. So here are the other two colors I got. I have to share them because they're gorgeous. Look at those. Magenta and Reflecting Pool. Aren't those so pretty? So I think I'm gonna have to make something with those two because they're just too pretty. So there's that. And I found this. Have you ever worked with nettle? This is nettle. This is Ancient Arts yarn, Impressionist, and that totally looks Impressionist, right? And nettle soft. It's merino and nettle DK weight. I just think that's so pretty. You guys, it's so squishy and soft, but I've never used nettle in a pattern, in a project. Have you used it? What's it good for? I'm hoping it works well with socks. I don't know. I just kind of feel like I want these like really cozy, beautiful socks. I don't know. I'm going to try it and see how it goes. It would really make a nice shawl too. Do you ever look at a skein of yarn and just ask it what it wants to be? Trying to do my yarn whispering with this one. I just think it's so pretty. I couldn't leave it, and it's something new to me, so that's always fun too, right? So those are my yarn acquisitions. I don't usually share that, but I wanted to this time. So that is it for the yarn. Now, as usual, I'm going to share a few books that I've read since it's been 3 months. There have been a few, but I'll do it quickly. And also, I'm not going to share something from my pattern library. I feel like you've probably seen enough patterns for today. So let's get into the books. Here we go. All right, as I've said, I read all 4 of the Discovery of Witches books, and I've already talked about those some. Fantastic fantasy books, history, all of the cool things that I love in books. If you want to know more about it, there's a lot more going to be on Substack when the pattern comes out Thursday. But let's talk about these other ones. Some history, some fantasy, some classics. Here we go. The first one I read was Lord of the Flies by William Golding. This is a book that I never read. It was on the list of optional books, and I read something else, in high school. But I knew what it was about, and in the past, I have probably referenced it way more than I have any right to, since I've never technically read the book. So I felt like I needed to read it so I could actually make references to it and consider myself legitimate. So I read it. I listened to the audiobook. It was not a long listen. I think it was maybe 8 hours. It's worth reading. It was written, it feels like a really long time ago. But I think it speaks so, I don't know if eloquently or precisely, or I don't have the right word right now, poignantly about the nature of humans, human nature. It's a little disconcerting that it seems like it could be a real story. It was well executed, well written, great story about boys lost on an island and the shenanigans that ensue. Not fun shenanigans exactly. It's a little, like I said, disconcerting, but I feel like it still holds true. So it must be thought out enough in truisms about human nature. And I don't know if you've noticed, but the world's a little bit on fire. And I think that this speaks to it. So if you're interested in a more serious read, and also you get to feel like you've read a classic, I would suggest that you read Lord of the Flies. It might help you, like me, kind of have another perspective or reinforce perspectives, I don't know, on how I view even current events. So I enjoyed that. The next one, going along with witches, since I was sort of in the discovery of witches mode, I read, well, some of it I read, and most of it I listened to, Killing the Witches by Bill O'Reilly and Martin Dugard. It's more of the history of the witches, witch trials, and actually it gets in a good bit to the War of Independence, Ben Franklin, a lot of the men during that time. Kind of a survey of events and religion in the colonies at the time, and it was really interesting to learn some of that history. You know, you hear about the Salem witch trials, but I had never studied them with any depth. And then it was kind of fun to read Times Convert because it references a lot of the people that are in Killing the Witches, and it is almost without bias. I think there's a little bit of bias that sneaks in toward the end about paganism that, I don't know, it's a minute or two of it, so it's not that big a deal. But as long as you can overlook that, if you disagree with that bias, then it's a valuable book to read, listen to. A lot of in-depth history of that time period. So that's another one I enjoyed. Ooh, Aragon. This was just for fun. This is going along with my year of dragon books because it's the year of the dragon. So this is by Christopher Paolini. My kid read it. I wanted to listen to the audiobook. My kid loved it. And so I listened to it and I loved it too. It's fantastic. It has everything that you want in an adventure story with dragons and quests basically, and battles and good and evil and figuring out whose side you should be on, and coming of age. There are so many good things in this book that I just loved. So it's worth a read. I'm looking forward to reading the rest of the books. And my last book to share with you is Ruthless Vows. It is by Rebecca Ross. It's the second book in a 2-book series. The first is Divine Rivals. I actually talked about it in my last regular episode. Both books are great. I really enjoyed them. I was a little bit concerned about the outcome of some of the characters, but I was very pleased with how the story went, how the characters developed, and all of the good stuff. It was an easy, fun read. I listened to it. But yeah, that is a good read. So that's it. Thank you for making it this far in this episode. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget Substack, Mountain Song Designs, Instagram, Mountain Song Designs, Etsy, MTN Song Designs, and on Ravelry, I'm either Mountain Song Designs or Jocelyn Peters. You'll find me all of those places. And until next time, Sláinte and happy knitting. Bye.
Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads.